Guys, I've got a confession to make. I've left Osu for another rhythm game. I know. After all the videos I've done where I'm practically cheating with my tapping technique, I thought I might leave Osu for a game that doesn't require any tapping. I'm talking about Rhythia. And if you've never heard of Rhythia, let me explain. Rhythia, or previously known as Soundspace Plus, is more like a rhythm target practice game on a square 3D plane, with notes appearing how they would similar to Beat Saber. From there, you aim your cursor at the note as it approaches the plane, and that's it. There's no clicking and no holding, no spinning, no nothing. That's part of why I like this game. There's no tapping, which may feel off for a rhythm game, but when you see how dense this game can actually get, it makes sense. I mean, watch the footage my friend gave me. He says that this is one of the baseline difficulties of Rhythia. Just look at it. Now, Rhythia is great and all, but one of the biggest things I noticed when coming from Osu and going to Rhythia is the lack of songs. Sure, there are thousands of community-made creations ready to go there and then in order to play in Rhythia. But when it comes to Osu, where there are millions and I can search up practically any song and get a result for it in Osu, it felt kind of barren. So, naturally, my next thought was, what if you could take songs from Osu and put them into Rhythia? Impossible, right? You'd have to change the entire layout. Well, I found a way. And what you're about to watch is that journey in making this entire process happen. But before we get into that, let's dive into today's sponsor. What, you really thought I had a sponsor? I've got 600 subscribers on YouTube. Who is going to sponsor me? It's just, I don't even have the graph to show you that, like, this is how many steps I have and this is how many people. Just go subscribe. Anyway, enjoy the video. The first and ultimately biggest step of the entire process was figuring out how do I convert the .osc file into something that Rhythia can read, and also what type of files can Rhythia read. There's no documentation that I can find, and I couldn't really see any possible way of doing it. But that wasn't until I did a little research and dug a little deeper into Rhythia's code and found out that there are 3 main map files that can be used in order to play maps. These 3 files are raw text with music and a background, a Soundspace Plus map or an SSPM file, and a Vulnus map. All of these originated from the original game Soundspace Plus with their own dependencies. I couldn't really find any data on SSPM or Vulnus files, so let's talk about TXT files first. Then we'll get into those. The easiest way to think about the TXT file format is it's just a set of notes. That's it. It's a structured text file that says things like, at this time, spawn a note at this position, over and over and over and over again. This means that the text file doesn't include the MP3 file as well, or the background image. And for those who know the TXT file type well, it doesn't even bundle rich metadata. So when importing the TXT file into Rhythia, you also need to include the audio file, as well as a background image if you want. Now, this is great for me because it keeps things super simple, but it makes it a little harder for the user because now they've got to import 3 files. And so I looked for an all-in-one solution, trying to get all these files merged into one. And that's where I found .sspm files. So my explanation for SSPM files is going to be a little rough. While researching SSPM files, I couldn't find any documentation on this, which meant I had to make my own. But I did find some example files that Rhythia offered, and I ended up deconstructing those so I could reverse engineer it. And this is my best interpretation of it. An SSPM file is structured in a binary container format. Think of it like a packaged game cartridge. It's not just a note list. It gives everything in one nice file. The map metadata, embedded audio, cover art, maker definitions, and the actual note timeline. Everything is there. Well, great, we've got our file that embodies everything in one, the jack of all trades. Well, actually, not really. The structure literally has to be perfect. You see, there are three main parts of the actual metadata in the SSPM files. First, there's the header, the static metadata, and the pointer table. Let's first talk about the header. It's super simple. Think of it as sort of the magic bytes that tell whatever's reading it that this is an SSPM file, and to not treat it as anything else. So as long as the program that's reading the SSPM file has the instruction manual on how to use it, then it will work. And in our case, we've already established that rhythia does work with SSPM files. So this is good to go. Then comes static metadata. It's for things like note count, song length, flags for where audio is embedded, and so on. I'm not gonna go too deep into it because it's pretty complicated, but think about it like a list of everything you need in order to build the actual map. But it's not including where things are or how long things are. This is where the pointer table comes in. And this is also where all of the problems began. The pointer table tells the game exactly where each section of data lives inside the file. It literally says audio starts at byte X and is Y bytes long. And if any of those numbers are wrong, even slightly, then the game will try and read data from the wrong location. And that's where things go bad. Because unlike TXT files where everything is interpreted safely line by line, SSPM files are loaded structurally, meaning that one small mistake can completely crash the program. And yes, while recording, it is the next day. And that's why it was so troublesome getting this file type to work. So I spent the next month banging my head against a wall trying to figure out exactly where these bytes go and how to calculate them. Until I realized a pretty simple solution that honestly, I really should have figured out sooner. You see, up until this point, I've been kind of just taking educated guesses on the calculations for where these bytes should go. But instead of guessing where these bytes should go, I should have built every section first, you know, the notes, the audio, etc., and measured their exact sizes. After that, I could calculate the correct positions based on the real file length as I built it. And after a little bit of debugging and making sure that I could get this new system to work, I had gotten it to go first try. Everything converted flawlessly, and it worked. Now, the only thing left was to tweak the gameplay. There were some minor things that I noticed that I really needed to change. So I'll briefly go through those. You see, conversion for the actual gameplay goes like this. Let's talk about the playfield first. When looking at the playfields for both rhythia and osu, you can clearly see that rhythia is substantially smaller than osu. And that's because the aspect ratio of rhythia's playfield is 1:1, whereas osu's is 4:3. Now, you'd think the easiest solution would just be to squish osu's playfield till it meets the aspect ratio of 1:1. But it's slightly more complicated than that. Since in osu, typically when mapping, you don't map all the way to the left or all the way to the right, or the top or bottom for that matter, it ends up creating empty space borders around the entire map. So you can essentially just squish the notes, allowing for things to be a lot less dense and actually fill the map of rhythia a lot more. If that didn't really make sense, I'll put an explanation up here in terms of X and Y coordinates. You should be able to understand it from this. Great, now the layout of the conversion is now done. Let's dive into the actual notes. As for circles, it's honestly not too bad. All it is just placing the note exactly where it would be in osu, but in rhythia. That simple. As for sliders, it's only slider heads and slider ends that turn into hit objects. And for the reason I didn't use slider ticks as well, I'm hiring Wetham7777 on Reddit to give an in-depth explanation as to why I didn't do that. And this is how I imagine they sound like.
Thanks, Thunderbirdo. Slider ticks are pretty hard to calculate the exact positions of. It took me in the realm of 6 hours to figure it out after already having the rest done in terms of positioning when I made some converters for various reasons. It's probably not worth the effort on a project like this. To get slider ticks, you have to model the whole slider curve mathematically, and there are several different types of sliders, and then you have to try get the language you are working with to round in a way that's similar to osu's rounding. If you need to be precise, etc., suffice to say it's difficult. OSU doesn't actually store the end position or slider ticks in the code. Hell, it doesn't even store the end time. You have to calculate that.
Cut. Thank you, Wetham777. 7 for your contribution. Your check will be in the mail. And then finally, for spinners, all I did was put a note at the very start of the spinner, right in the center of the playfield. Great. After all that, we're finally done. Now, let me show you exactly how you can use this program for yourself. Okay, I'm going to try and do this in one take, but no promises. So this is how you do it. You're going to go to the description and you're going to see a GitHub link. You're going to download a file at least similar to the name of osutorhythia.exe. Once you download it, make sure you put it in a secure folder where you can access it pretty easily. Then you're going to want to double click it to run it, and this window is going to pop up. If this window isn't here, you might be on Mac or Linux. Those two systems are not supported. I really do apologize, but honestly, I don't know how to do that. The next thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go up here and you're going to want to click Browse. In Browse is going to take you to a folder where you might have some OSU files in. I'm going to click here for this file because this is a map that I want to convert. I'm going to click Open. And then from there, I can choose the difficulty. This one doesn't have any other difficulty sets, so I'm just going to use the base one. And then here, I'm going to choose my output place, which should be in the same folder as you selected. But if not, you can change it by clicking this button. Then from there, I'm going to go to the difficulty group, and I'm going to change it to something that I think would fit. I think this is a medium map, so I'm going to choose medium. This doesn't actually change the note placement or anything. It's just for Rhythia in order to organize everything. From there, I'm going to include slider heads as notes. I'm also going to include spinner starts as notes, and I'm also going to include slider ends as notes. Then after that, all I'm going to do is click convert, and boom, it's done. Just like that. 1,118 objects have been converted. Then all you got to do in order to play it in Rhythia, this works in both older versions of Rhythia and the newer version that just came out on Steam just a couple days ago. All you got to do is drag it in. And boom, you've done it. You can now play your favorite OSU songs in Rhythia. So let's give it a look. Now, I have no clue if this is copyrighted. And that's where I stop there. I want to thank everyone so much for tuning into the video. And honestly, I'm really sorry for taking so long to even get a video out. I've been kind of demotivated after that whole BTMC situation, and I finally got around to making this video, so hopefully I can make more content for you. Stay tuned, and yeah, let's get into the replay of the day. Which, by the way, if you want to submit a replay of the day, there's a Google Forms down in the description. You can submit there with your replay. All right, so this replay is from a little-known player known as Zinzi. They are 300k, and this, holy crap, look at this profile. This is 301 PP, and they've only got 13 ranked plays. Okay, now that I look at this profile, this might be a hacker. It's too late. I've already rendered this. Not entirely sure. Just, you can take a look and judge for yourself. This guy's kind of insane. Maybe it's a multi-account. Yeah. Here's the replay, and I guess I hope you enjoy. Thank you for watching the video again, and I'll see you in next time.